Hey folks, Todd at Freedom Fighter Tactical. It is Monday the 22nd, time for the latest status of business and inventory update. Let's get started right now. Hey folks, Todd at Freedom Fighter Tactical. Welcome to the channel. Please hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so you're notified of future videos. And leave a comment or question down below. I do try to respond to everybody. If you're new here, welcome. There's always lots of new people in the Freedom Fighter Tactical family. Please jump over to the website if you're new and sign up for our email list. You can scroll all the way to the bottom of any page and there's a box there that you can sign up. I send 3 emails a week. They usually coincide with my videos. If I don't drop a video or if I miss one in that week, you'll only get 2 emails. I'm pretty particular about sticking to a schedule, and I just try to offer things that are of value to people who are subscribing to the email list. What's going on here at Freedom Fighter Tactical is we're starting to wrap up September, if you can believe that. This year has absolutely flown by. My skeletonized collapsible stocks, the 70085, are getting low. Both the Benelli OEM and the Freedom Fighter Tactical American-made versions. I actually have quite a bit of inventory right now that are unfinished, but the process involved in taking it from a raw part to a finished part is actually about 2 months, and it's very expensive. So I do it, a handful at a time. So I'm looking at a restock sometime towards the end of the year. Benelli's telling me a 4-month wait. They've been telling me that it might be a 3-month wait at this point, since they told me a 4-month wait. But whenever they tell you a 4-month wait, that's probably like the best scenario. When I give you guys, when I speculate on a time frame, back when I used to allow for pre-orders on things, which I don't allow anymore, but whenever I used to allow for pre-orders for people waiting on things that they really, really wanted, I would tell you, it's gonna be 6 months out, even if I thought it was gonna be 3 months out. That way you were mentally prepared for a 6-month wait. And then when I deliver in 3 months or 2 months, you're super, super happy. And then if I deliver in 4 or 5 months, you're not upset. Rarely would we ever blow. I think the only time I ever blew a time frame when I would promise time frames was on our top rails. There was a time during COVID where things were just very tricky and they were slowed down, and so our top rails suffered during that time. And we blew some deadlines, and people weren't happy. So I don't like it when people aren't happy. So I like to promise, longer time frames, but I don't know that Benelli does that necessarily. Most companies don't. Most companies are going to give you a shorter time frame. Like you go into a restaurant and you want to sit down at the table and they're going to say, well, it's going to be an hour. And actually, I think some restaurants will tell you it'll be an hour and a half wait, even if it's only going to be an hour. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, it'll just be 5 minutes. And then you're still standing there 40 minutes later. So it just depends. But in any event, collapsible stocks are the next thing, and recoil tubes as well. Getting resupplied on the recoil tubes has been tricky, and the manufacturing takes a while as well. We're working on the 6 positions as we speak right now, so hang tight on that. I don't have a lot of other parts to discuss today. One of the things I'm going to do in the status videos is I also want to start sharing some articles that have been written about Freedom Fighter through the years, and there was one that just came out July 14th, 2025, although apparently this was a republish. I don't know when he originally posted this blog post. Maybe he updated it on July 14, 2025. His name is Trampas Swanson. He runs what's called the Gritter Sports blog. He did an article called Benelli M4 Shotgun 922R Compliance Build. And I remember talking to him several years ago, and I think he just started doing the blog for Freedom Fighter and the Benelli parts that he chose for this build sometime over the last year, even though I think he and I talked, it was probably 4 years ago, at least 5 years ago. But anyway, and I put a link in the bottom down below on YouTube to his article. But he gives an explanation of 922R, and he pulled that information from Freedom Fighter. Of course, we've been explaining 922R to people for 18 years now, and so that you guys can make an educated decision on whether you want to comply or not. whether it's important to you, whether you know. The other thing too is we don't want you to build a gun that you unwittingly, you have no idea that it's technically in violation of a law. So you get a fair chance at least complying if that's what you want to do. Travis breaks it down. He's done his own research. You can tell by the way he's written this article that he's done his research and he found our resource very valuable. Of course, I've worked very hard on it. Oftentimes people say I'm the only guy that talks about 922R, which is complete and utter nonsense. Just about everybody who writes a gun article mentions 922R and the importance of following the letter of the law. So anyway, Trampas is, does the same thing. Anyway, he chose a few parts for his 4 parts of compliance. He got our magazine tube and he got our trigger kit, and he broke down his explanation and thoughts on our magazine tube separate from the trigger kit. And what he said about our mag tube is, well, he went with the titanium, which is what I recommend. If you want to buy this or build this gun and make it really awesome, titanium is definitely the way to go. He had very kind words to say about us. He considered us experts in the Benelli M4 field. Of course, after 18 years, I think that's the case. And he also talked about how we're the one-stop shop for all your 922R parts needs. And of course, that's not by mistake. I've made sure that we have everything and have as many choices as possible for you guys so that you can build it in any way you can. And people show up oftentimes and they bought their gun already and they bought a couple parts, and some of them are going to work for them and some aren't, and some are 922R and some aren't. So you never know what combo you're going to need, and I don't know what combo you're going to need. So I offer pretty much whatever I can to help you solve 922R. But anyway, he called our mag tube a dead ringer and mentioned that it was 48% lighter than OEM, which is the case. I think OEM comes in around 292 point something grams, or I think we measure it in grams. And I think our tube comes in around 152-ish. So we're almost at the halfway point. And that's one of the big benefits of the titanium. Whenever I've been at a shotgun class or at the range with a bunch of guys and everybody's got their Benelli M4s, or there's guys there that are thinking about getting a Benelli M4 and they want to hold someone's Benelli M4 and shoot it a little bit. If there's people there with a steel tube, I always tell people, hey, try the steel tube first and then pick mine up and try mine. And people light up like a pinball machine. The smile is ear to ear on the sides of their face. Even though on a scale, you're only talking about, 6 or 8 ounces. I mean, it doesn't add up to a lot, but you feel it. You definitely feel it. And those of you guys out there who are well trained at packing for missions, and you know how much every ounce costs you. When I was in Boy Scouts, we hiked the Cranberry Glades in eastern West Virginia. And one of the challenges was, I don't remember, I mean, it was so long ago, but our packs could only be so heavy. Or the total weight that we're carrying with the clothes that we were wearing and our tent and our bag and our food and everything, it all had to come in under a certain amount of weight, because he was teaching us about the challenge of planning for such an adventure and making it such that you're not pooping out and dying of exhaustion along the way. Because you get out in the Cranberry Glades and you get stuck and you're exhausted and you can't walk any further, you're in some serious trouble. That's some of the roughest terrain in the country and maybe even in the world. It's beautiful, it's awesome. I remember it was so moist, it was so wet out there, mossy rocks everywhere. I remember the water was crystal clear. You could see fish, 30, 40 feet away in the water, sitting down there next to the rocks. It was awesome. So anyway, back to Trampas's article. So then he moves on to the trigger kit, calls it a home run swing in 922R. Because you get 3 parts. I mean, you need 4 if you're using the skeletonized stock, whether or not it collapses. So you need 3 if you're not using the skeletonized stock. So when you do a trigger kit and it's 3 pieces and you get a knockout punch, there you go, or a home run hit. He mentioned that we have the finest materials. We use S4. He called it an upgrade, not just a replacement. And that's key. Some things on a Benelli are a replacement when you're trying to do 922R. The follower is simply a replacement. The forend, unless you're upgrading the forend to something M-lock or something along those lines. Like if you go with our Benelli we have our, our copy of the OEM. That's just simply a swap. You're not really getting any beneficial add-on to the gun with our forend. I could try to split hairs, but I think it would be overselling it. But the plastic we use in our forend is just, it's solid, filled with glass in the nylon, which strengthens it. The original Benelli does not have glass in the nylon. Or if it does, it has very, very little. But ours has a significant amount of glass in the nylon, and that operates as a heat shield, and it operates to build strength in the part. The part sounds different when you tap it on a table. It actually makes a brittle sound, but it's not. It's very, very hard, and it's, for lack of a better word, it shows a warp that the original doesn't. When plastic cools, it always wants to warp no matter what. And part of the manufacturing process with plastic, when you're trying to up the quality, is controlling the amount of warp you're getting. You're gonna get warp no matter what, but controlling it and containing it and trying to have as perfect of a part that comes out of the die as possible, that is expensive. It is a true art. And this part has some challenges to it, because it has the tongue and groove. One side is gonna cool differently than the other side because it has a tongue. Instead of a depression, it has a protrusion of some sort. And then the other side has the tongue is a groove that the two pieces fit together. And then the accordion grip down the side. I mean, this all combined makes it so when it cools, it wants to curl. But we haven't made a design change in our forend since we introduced it back in, I think, 2009 or 2010. And they're on tens of thousands. I mean, I don't know how many they're on out there, but they've been around for a long time. It's one of the hot items. It's a good, inexpensive 922R part, but it doesn't add value. But my point was, I could try to split hairs and say that because of the glass and the nylon, it's a better part. I let you all decide that stuff, if it's better, if it's not better. I try not to do too much puffing on parts. I'd rather just let the marketplace decide, and you guys have. We've been doing this for a long time, and you all have always made us number one. I mean, it's just what it is. So he said he installed the trigger kit in under 30 minutes with our instructions. I wrote those instructions out, by the way. Those might have had a few revisions through the years. He talked about the enhanced function and the dropped pull weight. He got 7 ounces drop on the pull weight. You're gonna average about 1 to 2 pounds. We go for 2 pounds, but it always varies, and it varies based on a number of factors, and it also varies on your original pull weight. I get guys that want a hair trigger. We don't want hair triggers on Benelli M4 semi-automatic shotguns. So we want to keep the weight completely safe and completely as close to what Benelli did as possible. Maybe a small drop, but we just want it to feel nice and crisp and be enjoyable. We don't want it to be, anything tricky at all. But he said it was noticeably smoother, and typically it is smoother. And typically with Benelli, you might have a little bit of creep before you get your break. And with ours, you are probably going to eliminate the break entirely. That's been our experience with this trigger over the years. So I'm losing my voice. Anyway, Trampas, thank you for the article. It's a wonderful article. He does go into some other things. He goes into the Surefire forend, which people still every once in a while find one of those available online. But he goes into a couple other parts that he put on his gun, and it's a delightful article to read. I encourage you to check it out. I put the link down below again in the description. And thank you, Trampas, for reviewing our stuff and sharing it with your crowd. As far as what's going on here at Freedom Fighter Tactical, again, I'm at the phone number on the website. You can call, you can text me anytime. You can email me through the contact page. You can use the little text blurb on the website if you'd like. Whichever way, all 4 ways go directly to my cell phone. So you need only pick one of them, and you will get me, and I will answer you at my earliest possible convenience, which is usually when you reach out to me. But every once in a while, I do have to wait to respond depending on what the message is that you leave me. If it's something that requires more of a conversation, I'm sitting in a weight room at a doctor's office, I'm not going to call you. I'll have to call you back. But if you text me and ask me something, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, I can answer you while that's happening. So Anyway, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell so you're notified of future videos. Leave a comment if you'd like, and I will talk to you in the next video. Take care and be safe.